Hello and welcome to another 5-minute art video. I'm Marjie Kemper and today I'm going to be talking about the basics using Ranger's Distress inks. Distress inks are my favorite type of ink to use. They are reactive to water and they're really just wonderful. The possibilities are endless. The easiest way to apply ink to your project is called direct to paper. You just take an ink pad and rub it directly on whatever paper you're working with. Sometimes this can be a little rough looking. As you can see here, I have the image, the shape of the ink pad showing from when I pressed it. So you can get rid of that by either repeating it all over to make it look intentional, or by using an ink blending tool to sort of control the application of the color. So this is an ink blending tool and I'm using a foam pad on it. It's very important that you use foam and not felt. And I can peel off that foam topper and switch it with a different one. So I might have, one tool and a bunch of different colored foams, or you could have a lot of different tools with dedicated foam. Now let's go ahead and apply ink to the paper using just the ink blending tool. I want to be careful when I do this to not go directly from the ink pad to the paper. What I do actually is I go into the ink pad and then I work on my surface. So this is a craft mat. It's a non-stick craft sheet from Ranger. You could also use the glass mat, any kind of slick surface. And look at that gentle application. It's very different from what we did with direct to paper. So again, getting a lot of ink onto that foam, I go onto the craft mat and I work with a very light hand in a circular motion. I'm trying to go around the edges and eventually I'll work my way to the center, but I'm not going straight there to start. And again, with a light hand, you have a lot of control here. You can always come back and add more, but you're doing a nice, gentle application. And it's a very different look than direct to paper. I like this one because you have a lot of control. You can keep it soft like this. Look at that contrast. Or you can go in and apply more color and deeper saturation. So I'm using a heat tool there to set the ink. You have to know that distress inks are reactive to water. Even the moisture that's on your fingertips could leave a mark because it's kind of like water, right? You have a little oil on your fingertips. So that's important to keep in mind. You want to have your tag or whatever you're working on be dry before you go on and add more. Now let's give you an example of how you can have deeper color with that same single ink pad. So again, we've only used one ink pad. This one happens to be called Salty Ocean. I really like it. So I've laid down a stencil and now I'm going to come in with a firmer hand and apply the ink. And for this, you can go directly to the project because I want to go into the stenciled area. I don't want to come off the edges. Isn't that rich? Now, you see how my tag was straight across the top? If I want to extend that design to cover the whole top area, I just have to shift the stencil and then the pattern will repeat. So it really does look as if I had two colors, right? Just by the difference in the pressure I'm using. One last thing I like to do with distress ink is apply it to the edges of the paper using the ink blending tool. This can give the project a nice finished look. I actually really like doing it with brown or black too, but you can continue with whatever color you're using or switch to a darker one. So to recap, we did two types of ink application. We did direct to paper in this video, and we also applied ink using the ink blending tool and various degrees of pressure. I do have a free checklist for newsletter subscribers. If you'd like to get a copy of the Distress Ink Blending Checklist, just click the link below this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I will see you again soon for another 5-minute art video.